The potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford has drawn widespread attention and generated a lot of debate among boxing experts, with opinions divided on how the matchup would play out.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside, and he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, be able to find out firsthand.
Some figures in the boxing world are adamant that Canelo would be too much for Crawford, citing the size difference and Canelo's established dominance at the higher weight class as key factors in their analysis. Joel Diaz strongly dismisses the idea that Crawford could easily defeat Canelo. Diaz describes those who believe Crawford has a good chance against Canelo as stupid, emphasizing the enormous size gap between the two. Canelo's raw power, according to Diaz, could change the outcome of the fight with a single punch. He argues that while Crawford is a skilled fighter, he does not have the same ability to absorb the kinds of powerful shots that Canelo is capable of delivering. Diaz notes that Crawford has moved up in weight before, but making the leap from 147 to 154 pounds and then to 168 pounds is a massive jump, and this extra weight could prove to be detrimental to Crawford in the ring. He concludes that despite Crawford's skills, he would struggle against the sheer physicality of a fighter like Canelo.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez would take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford would take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
Similarly, Adonis Wilkins is also convinced that the weight difference would play a significant role in the fight. He acknowledges Crawford's undeniable talent, but points out that moving up to 168 pounds could slow Crawford down and affect his performance. Wilkins believes that the extra weight would mean Crawford would not hit as hard as Canelo, whose power at that weight is well established. He predicts that if Crawford does not manage the weight difference well, he will likely falter as the fight progresses, with Canelo's strength and power ultimately taking over. Wilkins draws comparisons to Canelo's fight with Caleb Plant, where Plant was ahead early but eventually began to tire. He expects Crawford to face a similar fate, with Canelo's power overpowering him in the later rounds. By the time the fight hits the 10th round, Wilkins expects Crawford to start losing steam, allowing Canelo to dominate and secure a victory.
That's a bad look for Crawford. I love Crawford, dog. I think he's real talented, but we see him at 154 going up in weight class, and he kind of struggled. He didn't struggle, but that weight was definitely a difference. To go up another 2 weight classes after that, we're going to see a lot slower Terence Crawford. Yeah, his boxing ability is there, but Crawford don't hit like Canelo. Canelo's coming down for that fight. It's going to be rough. So I'm going to give it to Canelo. Love Crawford, but I'm gonna give it to Canelo.
Another notable voice in the Canelo will be too much camp is Jim Lampley, who remains skeptical of Crawford's chances against a physically imposing fighter like Canelo. Lampley references Crawford's struggle in his fight against Israel Madrimov, which he believes demonstrated that Crawford may not be suited for higher weight classes. Lampley questions whether Crawford could handle the physicality of a fighter like Canelo, especially when fighting at 168 pounds. While acknowledging Crawford's incredible boxing talent, Lampley emphasizes that weight classes exist for a reason, and the jump to 168 could limit Crawford's effectiveness. The weight difference, in Lampley's view, would likely prove to be a deciding factor in the fight.
What do you think about the fight now that you just witnessed Canelo Alvarez again in the masterclass performance?
I love Terence Crawford, and I want him to have what he wants. But off of what I saw tonight and what I saw him Los Angeles last month when Crawford was fighting my dream off, I am more than ever concerned that he's not big enough, and not big enough to be able to move around the ring and muscle Canelo in the way that he would have to ward off those really vicious inside power shots.
Amir Khan offers a similar assessment, acknowledging that while Crawford is a big guy, he believes that size alone will not be enough to overcome Canelo. Khan notes that Canelo has made significant improvements to his boxing skills over the years, particularly since their own encounter in the ring. He points out that Canelo has refined his technique and become a more complete fighter, especially after facing top-tier opponents like Dimitri Bivol and Jaime Munguia. Despite claims of Canelo aging, Khan firmly believes that the Mexican fighter remains a formidable force. With his improved skills, Canelo would present a tough challenge for anyone, including Crawford.
Size, bro, remember, Crawford then is a big boy as well. Crawford's a big guy when it comes to a box fight. Yeah, I think Crawford, in my opinion, but size might matter. But then again, I think since when I fought Canelo's become a better boxer. He started boxing more better. You know what I mean? Technical more. Especially against the last fight against Mangui. He boxed really well as well. And he's looking really good. He's still, a lot of people might say, oh, he's getting old, this, that, another. But no, Canelo's still a beast.
While not outright dismissing Crawford's chances, Teofimo Lopez urges caution and underscores the importance of both fighters focusing on their upcoming bouts before considering a showdown between the two. He emphasizes that a fighter's reputation in today's boxing world is largely shaped by their most recent performance. Lopez believes that it's essential to see how each fighter performs in their next few bouts before making any assumptions about a potential clash. He suggests that while Crawford and Canelo are both elite fighters, it's important to ensure that both are in top form before a potential matchup is seriously considered.
Yeah, that's what it's been talking about. They've been talking about it. I mean, listen, they just gotta win their fights first, and then we'll see what happens then. You know what I mean? If they're gonna fight before they fight each other, I think that's the smartest thing for both parties. And then we see how they look, and we go from there. Because nowadays, in the modern day era, you're only as good as your last fight.
Danny Garcia provides a balanced take, recognizing the massive appeal that a fight between Canelo and Crawford would have for boxing fans. He acknowledges both fighters' elite status and skills, but agrees that Canelo's size at 168 pounds could be a major hurdle for Crawford. Garcia notes that Canelo's power and physicality at that weight would be difficult for Crawford to deal with. While he sees the matchup as an exciting and intriguing one, Garcia believes that Canelo's size and strength at super middleweight would ultimately make him too much for Crawford to handle.
You know, at the end of the day, they're two great pound-for-pound fighters, and if they feel like, you know, it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But, you know, Canelo, he's a big dude, and I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, you know, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing.
While not dismissing Crawford's chances entirely, Keith Thurman emphasizes that Crawford would need to push himself to the absolute limit in order to stand a chance against Canelo. Thurman suggests that Crawford would need to train at high altitudes and focus on every small detail in his preparation. He points out that Crawford's mental preparation will also be critical, as he will need to visualize victory and plan strategically for Canelo's counters. However, Thurman is concerned about how Crawford would cope with the extra weight. He questions whether Crawford would still be able to move with the same agility at 168 pounds and wonders if the added weight would slow him down. Despite these challenges, Thurman believes that if Crawford executes his preparation perfectly, he could potentially pull off an upset, but he remains wary of Canelo's power and physical advantages.
I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford, but it's one of those things where if he really wants to win against Canelo, he's going to need to do everything. You know, you're going to need to run uphill. You're going to need to train in high altitude. You're going to need to do every little thing that gives you that, you know, athletic edge. And lots of pre-fight meditate, you know. You got to see victory before the victory manifests, you know. Whether I'm going to set the trap. He's going to want to counter me. And so I'm going to counter his counter. I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford. But it's one of those things where it needs to be planned out, trained out, and methodically, you know, delivered on a fight night. And then the other thing is how athletic is he going to move with the extra weight on top of him. So, you know, like I said, it's just very important to train, to have the best camp that you can have, the high altitude, get all that oxygen, and just use all those little biohacking things to your advantage, to make an upset. I mean, you're going to go home a winner. You've done great things in boxing, Crawford, that is, Canelo too. They both get to be winners at the end of the day. They both get to be legends at the end of the day. But, you know, if Crawford wants to be just something that can never really be compared to, I mean, Floyd beat Canelo, but we know what Canelo Floyd beat. He beat young Canelo. He beat that not really ready for the big boys Canelo. If Crawford beats Canelo, he beat big boy Canelo.
Sean Porter also sees Canelo's size and experience as a significant advantage in a potential fight with Crawford. Porter acknowledges that Crawford holds the advantage in height and reach, which could give him a tactical edge, but he also points out that Canelo's vast experience and his ability to handle tough opponents will likely be crucial. Porter believes that the fight would be a true test of both fighters' skills, with Crawford needing to use his physical attributes effectively to stand a chance. However, Porter ultimately believes that the size difference and Canelo's experience make the Mexican fighter the favorite in this matchup. He also sees the timing of the fight as ideal, as Canelo has fewer big-name opponents left to face, making Crawford a natural next choice. Porter believes this fight would be a thrilling showcase of both fighters' abilities, but he is inclined to think that Canelo's physical advantages would give him the upper hand.
I just said it, you know? And Terence is already taller than him, you know, has the reach, you know? I'm telling y'all, that's a 50-50 fight. Okay. That's a 50-50 fight. Yeah. It's actually perfect timing for both guys. Yeah. Canelo Alvarez is losing big name fighters to fight against. There's really no one else with a big name for him to fight against.
With several experts believing that Canelo's size and power would be too much for Crawford, there is a vocal group of analysts who believe that Crawford's unique skill set and adaptability could enable him to overcome the physical challenges posed by Canelo. Teddy Atlas is one of the most vocal proponents of Crawford's chances, emphasizing the fighter's technical brilliance over any concerns about size. Atlas stresses that Crawford's boxing IQ, composure under pressure, and ability to adapt during a fight are qualities that would allow him to deal with Canelo's power. He argues that Crawford's technical mastery and mental toughness far outweigh any disadvantages in terms of size. For Atlas, the fight would come down to who can execute their strategy more effectively and who can stay calm and composed under pressure. He insists that Crawford's ability to adjust and outthink his opponent gives him a real chance against Canelo.
I look at Crawford as one of those special guys. I don't care if you guys are tired of me saying it. I look at him, look, Canelo's special too. I get it. And he's bigger. I get that too. And if everyone's going to say, well, after Madrimov fight again, had a couple hiccups, now he's stepping up another weight class. Now he's got to fight Canelo, who's even bigger, stronger, better puncher, you know, a unified champion that he's been, you know, all of that stuff. He's not going to be able to handle it.
Shakur Stevenson shares a similar belief in Crawford's ability to overcome the odds. Stevenson acknowledges that the fight would be incredibly difficult for Crawford, especially considering Canelo's power and vast experience. However, Stevenson has confidence in Crawford's ability to upset the odds. He believes that Crawford's unique skill set, boxing IQ, and adaptability make him a real threat despite the size difference. Stevenson acknowledges that Canelo is a tough opponent, but he remains hopeful that Crawford's intelligence and versatility in the ring could allow him to exploit Canelo's weaknesses and secure a victory.
There's a lot of talk about Canelo Crawford as well. I know you're going to back Terence all the way in that fight, but how big of a fight is that? How difficult of a challenge is it moving up in weight?
I think it's very difficult. Canelo got the IQ, he got the size, he got the power, maybe. It's a very difficult fight, but I think if anybody could get it done, it's Terence Crawford.
Dimitri Bivol offers a more nuanced take, recognizing Crawford's technical abilities, but also stressing the importance of weight classes in boxing. While Bivol admits that Crawford's skills could give him a chance against Canelo, he is not entirely convinced that Crawford would be able to overcome the physicality of the fight. Bivol points out that weight classes exist for a reason, and the physical strength of a fighter like Canelo could prove to be too much for Crawford. Nevertheless, Bivol concedes that if Crawford can execute a perfect strategy and make the necessary adjustments, he could find a way to win. Bivol's assessment leaves room for possibility, but he believes that Crawford's road to victory would be far from easy.
I remember when I came to the boxing gym, one of the first lessons which I should learn, it's like, you should respect weight classes. You know, yeah, what it means. But Terence Crawford now is one of the favorite fighters, active fighters, I mean. He has good skills, very good skills. Maybe he could show us something.
Frank Warren adds to the excitement surrounding the potential fight, describing it as a fantastic matchup for boxing fans. He believes that with the right promotional effort, the fight could become a reality and would be a crucial event for American boxing. Warren sees the fight as an opportunity to showcase two elite fighters and elevate the sport's appeal, recognizing that a matchup between Canelo and Crawford would be a major event for boxing fans around the world.
Our story from the ring, which of course is owned by Turkey Al-Sheikh, states that on September 13th, they are going to in fact do Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Are you surprised that they got this over the line, that it appears to be a done deal for Las Vegas's Allegiant Stadium?
Look, if it's done, I mean, as a boxing fan, I can't wait to see that fight. It's a fabulous fight. If anyone can get it done, His Excellency's the man, and you know, he's been a massive fan of both those guys, and I know when we sat down, or when we sit down and talk about up and coming shows, that's one he's always said he'd love to see, and I'm pretty positive that it will happen, and fingers crossed they get that over the line, because what a fight that'll be between those two, and a great fight for American boxing.
Yes,
you know, it's a real great fight. You need great fights there.
Lastly, there is Jose Benavidez Jr., who remains steadfast in his support of Crawford. Benavidez believes that many people are underestimating Crawford's chances against Canelo. While he acknowledges Canelo's size and weight advantage, Benavidez highlights Crawford's ring intelligence and well-thought-out strategy. He expresses confidence that Crawford's adaptability and ability to switch between stances will play a crucial role in the fight, allowing him to approach the matchup differently than most opponents. Benavidez is confident that Crawford will have a plan in place to exploit Canelo's weaknesses, and as a result, believes that Crawford has the tools to defeat the Mexican legend.
A lot of people are counting Crawford out. Crawford's he's smart, he knows what he's doing. Canelo, you know, I mean, he's not that big of a guy. He obviously weighs more, but I mean, you can't take nothing from Crawford. He goes in there to win. So I mean, I feel like it'd be a good fight. You know, it sucks that my brother didn't get the opportunity, but I mean, only Canelo knows why it didn't happen. And you just gotta keep moving forward. You know, gotta keep moving forward. But it's gonna be a good fight to watch. I got Crawford on this one. The thing with him, he adjusts. He's a smart. He adjusts. He's not only does he switch from southpaw to orthodox, but he's just a smart. He has a high IQ in boxing, you know, and that's what I feel like. All these fighters that go in there to fight Canelo, they already go in there scared, is what I believe, you know, that which already beats him, you know. So Crawford's gonna go in there to fuck. So I mean, I have it going Crawford, bro, to be honest with you.
As the potential showdown between Canelo and Crawford draws closer, opinions on who will come out on top remain divided. So what are your thoughts about this situation? Do you want to see a Canelo-Crawford fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.